Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, at least 2 more people are killed in DR Congo amidst rising tensions ahead of elections that are due on the 23rd. Opposition candidate Martin Fayulu accuses Joseph Kabila's government of trying to deliberately impede his campaign. Also, the suspected kidnappers of around a dozen students in Cameroon's northwest release a video trying to warn others off going to school. Militant Anglophone separatists have been trying to force a boycott of educational institutions in the country's English-speaking regions. And Kakuma Got Talent, the competition at the Kenyan refugee camp, brings together creators from the refugee and local communities in a bid to showcase their skills. But first, campaigning's ramping up in DR Congo ahead of elections on December 23rd. It's a volatile period. The country's never known a peaceful transition of power since it gained independence in 1960. President Joseph Kabila was supposed to have stepped down 2 years ago, and 21 candidates are running to replace him. On Wednesday, at least 2 people were killed by police on the sidelines of an opposition rally for opposition candidate Martin Fayulu. A day earlier, 2 more of his supporters had been killed in clashes in Lubumbashi. Thomas Nicolon tells us more.
Campaigning has been mostly peaceful in DR Congo over the past 3 weeks, but several clashes took place over the last couple of days. On Wednesday, in the city of Kalemi in the Tanganyika province, opposition leader Martin Fayulu was blocked by the authorities on his way to a rally because of clashes between his supporters and the police. And a local priest says that one woman got hit by a bullet and later died. On Tuesday, similar events took place in the city of Lubumbashi, where Martin Fayulu was not able to hold his rally because of clashes between his supporters and the police. And the Congolese Association for Access to Justice says that 2 Martin Fayulu supporters were killed on Tuesday and 43 were injured. A UN spokesperson condemned the violence on Wednesday and called on the authorities to take measures to prevent further incidents.
Thomas Nicolon there for us. Now, Martin Fayulu has spoken to France 24 about Wednesday's violence. He says that it's part of a deliberate campaign of harassment by Kabila's government.
There was an attempt made on people's lives. They tried to directly target us by firing bullets and tear gas at my vehicle. I cannot understand why they would attack peaceful citizens who just came to greet a presidential candidate. Is this just a grand plan by Kabila and his government? I'm being prevented from campaigning. They've been refusing to issue flight permits, so we started our campaign a week late. And now we're not even allowed to continue.
Well, DR Congo has denied Fayulu's accusations. Government spokesperson Lambert Mendes told France 24 that Fayulu is not seen as an electoral threat and hasn't been prevented from travelling to pursue his campaign. Mendes also hit back, claiming that Fayulu's the one who has been trying to disrupt elections by inciting violence. Now, in other news, a member of Africa's top footballing body has been arrested in France on war crimes charges in Central African Republic. The International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant in December for Patrice Edouard Gaissona for coordinating Christian militia groups known as Anti-Balaka, which emerged after civil war broke out in Central African Republic in 2013. Now, he was controversially elected to the executive board of the Confederation of African Football General Assembly back in February. As a leader of the Anti-Balaka, he could be held responsible for crimes including murder, torture, and the use of child soldiers. Rwanda is appealing against the acquittal of dissident politician Diane Rwigara. Earlier this month, the High Court found her not guilty of forgery and inciting insurrection. At the time, she'd been imprisoned for more than a year. Prosecutors had wanted a 22-year sentence and said that the High Court judges ignored evidence against Rwigara. A vocal critic of President Paul Kagame, she had intended to run in presidential elections last August, but her bid was denied on grounds that she'd forged the signatures of the supporters of her application. And President Muhammadu Buhari's main competitor in next year's elections in Nigeria has signed a peace accord for the polls. Atiku Abubakar, the candidate for the main opposition party, the PDP, put pen to paper on Wednesday, a day after the president and hopefuls from minor parties had done so. His absence from Tuesday's official signing ceremony had raised concerns about the 2019 vote. The deal was brokered amidst fears that those polls could spark violence. Now, in Cameroon, videos emerged of students of the University of Bamenda who were reportedly kidnapped over the weekend. In it, the abductors, who are believed to be Anglophone separatists, threaten pupils who go to school in the country's English-speaking regions. Indira Ayok tells us more.
Students of the University of Bamenda's Higher Teachers Training College were reportedly on their way to their campus when they were taken away by unidentified armed men on Saturday. A video of them was released on Monday where they were warned by their captors to stay away from school. In the footage, one of the kidnappers said the captives will be released but warned that any other students caught will be dealt with accordingly. The University of Bamenda is still to comment on the abduction of the students, but it was a tense atmosphere on the campus on the day the 12 students were kidnapped. Gunshots were heard in town while the graduation ceremony was ongoing. This is not the first time that institution has been targeted. Last month, at least one staff member and several other students were kidnapped by unidentified men. Since the start of the Anglophone crisis 2 years ago, English-speaking separatist fighters have called for school boycotts in the 2 English-speaking regions of Cameroon. Educational institutions which have continued to have classes have increasingly come under attack.
Now, Kenya's Kakuma refugee camps hosted its 5th edition of Kakuma Got Talent, a competition bringing together creators from the refugee and local communities in a bid to showcase their skills and change perceptions of asylum and migration seekers. Kakuma Banero tells us more.
This is Kakuma camp in northwestern Kenya, home to some 180,000 refugees, mainly from South Sudan and Somalia. Living conditions here are tough, but that doesn't stop its residents from dancing, singing and playing music.
In this dusty place, in this hot place, in this place of refuge, there are people who have talent.
Kakuma does indeed have talent, and refugees are eager to show it. Supported by the World Lutheran Foundation and the UNHCR, Kakuma Got Talent brings together some of the best singers, dancers and other artists from the camp. An opportunity for everyone to showcase their skills and try to change public perceptions of refugees.
I like to tell the world that as refugees here in camp, especially Kakuma, we didn't only come here so that we can run away from war. Even though we are here, we don't have that much of support, but we can show them that the youth who are here in the camp, they are the next generation.
Out of the 700 participants, a dozen are selected to record their performance. Winners receive between $50 and $250 US.
To participate, to show your culture, show your talents is the best thing.
Worldwide fame remains a distant dream. Nevertheless, for these refugees, the contest is an opportunity to get noticed in their community.
And Morocco's pulled its bid to host the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. Along with South Africa, it had been seen as a front-runner to host the competition next June. It had been due to be held in Cameroon, but last month Yaoundé was stripped of the tournament by the Confederation of African Football because of delays in preparation. Congo-Brazzaville has since emerged as a surprise candidate, so this is one to watch. That is, though, all we have time for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks for joining us. Do so again if you can. Take care.